Solopreneurs often ask themselves this question: is it worth spending my time, money, and energy registering a trademark? If I do, then what are the benefits? And if I don't, then what are the risks? In today's episode, I'm interviewing Lorraine Galvez of Galvez & Co., who is a trademark and small business attorney, who will be answering all of these questions and so much more.
What's up, bosses? This is Talyn Rahman-Figueroa, your personal brand consultant at Boss Diplomat, making you look so good you cannot be ignored. When you think about branding, automatically it's easy to think about trademarking and protecting your brand. So I have invited a very special guest, Lorraine Galvez from Galvez & Co. Lorraine, tell us about yourself. I'm so excited you're here.
Hi, Talyn. It's such a pleasure to be here. I love everything that you do, and it's really a privilege to come to speak with you and to your community. I am a trademark and small business attorney. I have had a practice. We're actually turning 10 this year, and our focus is mostly working with entrepreneurs at different stages of their business ownership.
Let's just cut to the chase. When small businesses, right? When small businesses tend to sticky tape a lot of their things for their business. They just want to start making money straight away. Doesn't matter who, how, but they want to get there fast. So when it comes to branding, and then equally enough, when it comes to anything related to the law or how to protect themselves and trademarking, they don't think about this, They think when I make the money, that's when I'll decide to rebrand and then trademark my stuff. Like, really, they should be doing that from the beginning, right?
In the age of instant gratification, and I think having been an attorney for about 10 years and being a business owner, you see changes in trends. And some of those trends are that and my clients included, they are expecting things to happen very quickly when they start a business. And as many of us know, you included, who are entrepreneurs, entrepreneurship is very hard and it requires your full-time attention. It's like a child. I'm a mother and I have a son, but I consider Galvez & Co. my other child. I have to tend to it daily. I have to work daily. I have to do what I have to do daily. So essentially, there are some services that you just cannot postpone or delay, and legal services are one of them. When you have a child, you can't postpone medical attention or the dentist. So think about legal services as the doctor or the dentist for your business. They're just some things at the beginning that you have to do.
So what are the top 3 things that small business need to do straight away? It doesn't matter whether you're starting up or whether you're rebranding.
You have to form an entity in your home state where your principal activities are happening. So I'm in New York and Connecticut. I'm registered in both states. I'm legally authorized to operate my law practice in both the state of Connecticut and the state of New York. So both states. This should all happen with an attorney. So maybe number 1 should be finding an attorney that can help you organize your business and set up the structures that are necessary to carry out your business activities. So going on Google, going on Yelp, asking, people like you, or asking in the community, hey, who did you use to set up your practice? Who did you use to draft your contracts for your vendors? The last thing on that list, I wouldn't say would be file a trademark application. I would say pay for a professional comprehensive search for the name or the logo that you have in mind. This is maybe, the image or the idea that I have for how I want to call my company and the image I want to have, so that people, when they see that image, they're going to associate my goods and services with that image. That's my logo. That's what we're going to register.
What else can a trademark do to protect your business so that you fend off those kind of copycats?
It's a lot to absorb. So I don't want anyone listening to this show feeling like, oh my God, I feel silly. I feel stupid. I can't believe I didn't know this. Folks, I'm a lawyer. I've studied this for 10 years. This is the only reason that I know this. Number 1. And number 2, this is why you cannot do this yourself. Trademark, copyright, business registrations are not meant or should not be DIY'd. And I want to make that very clear, Talyn, because no one is saying that to these entrepreneurs who are investing everything they have into these businesses. Okay, whether you have saved $500 or $5,000 or $5 million, your business should allow you to focus on what you're good at, not also being the accountant, being the lawyer, being the, focus on what you're good at, know your lane and stay in it. That's the first thing I want to say. Copyright and trademark are completely different lanes.
Right.
That law is intended to protect separate aspects, potentially of your business. If you're a photographer, if you are designing websites, if you're doing things where it requires creative ideas that are now brought down to a physical level, whether it's on a page, on a website, on a tangible medium, as we say, where people can actually see it and touch it and use it and transfer it and look at it. That is what copyright is intended to protect. So copyright law essentially is just preventing people from copying your original, I have to put that in there, original or derivative work. And I say that because with AI now, things are rapidly changing, but the law really is not changing that fast.
All right. So using me as an example, how do you protect yourself, and your image to the outside world? Because that seems really tricky.
It's become very challenging, I think, in recent years, because there's just so much content, right? There's so much out there. We're all doing everything. And I think social media essentially has really just changed the way we obviously use and view content. And I know even myself as a small business, when I was trying to figure out social media or putting stuff on YouTube, and it says, would you like to give people permission to remix your videos? Right? I always click no. Like I always put no. And a friend of mine was like, well, why do you put no? Because then no one can circulate your videos. And if they're building carousels or threads or whatever these terms that honestly, I still am trying to understand, but not that I don't know what they are, but I'm trying to understand them from a legal perspective because it helps me help my clients protect their stuff. You need to take the protections that you would want others to take with your work. That's a very common standard, for example, in confidentiality agreements. Well, Talyn, how much, Talyn LLC, how much protection are you actually, how much are you investing in encrypting, your sensitive documents and stuff that you don't want anyone else to see? Are you using NDAs for all of your other vendors that you want them to not leak your new web design or leak your new photos or leak your new copy for your website? So one thing I try to tell clients to do, and this is more from just a practical angle, let's just start there before we get deep in the weeds with legal, being organized with your content, having NDAs, having written agreements with your vendors who are supplying you with this content, right? If you're working with photographers and videographers, even if you're doing it yourself, that's fine. But if you're using editors, if you're people that are working for you, you need to be able to have a written understanding with them on how that content is going to be treated. And when we put things on social media like YouTube and the Facebooks and Instagram, right? And so if there's a specific way that we don't want our content used, but we know that Facebook, allows people to share, or YouTube, if you don't press that button, then people can remix your content, then maybe that's not the platform for you.
Terms and conditions is something that a lot of solopreneurs use as part of their services. On my website and in my invoices, there's obviously a terms and conditions that's written up, and that really sets the expectations. It's already out there. It's publicly available. It's your responsibility to read it. And one of the things that I do with my content is all of my Zoom meetings with my clients will be recorded for marketing purposes, and that's made very black and white.
Right.
And if the client decides, I don't want this part or this entire meeting to be shown publicly, Talyn, please don't use it. Okay, I won't use it. When it comes to terms and conditions, there's so many free templates and agreements that you can use online, and it doesn't cost a lot.
Right.
What is your professional opinion about using that versus an actual human being who knows the law?
Great question, Talyn. And this will be a very short answer. You get what you pay for. Very short. And to elaborate on that slightly, if you are expecting more involved, an attorney, a human being that's basically going to sit with you like I am sitting with you, hearing out your concerns, and then devising a legal strategy based on what I've learned from your business and on how you have let me know where you're exposed, and we come up with a strat, right? All of those conversations happen with a human being. So Rocket Lawyer, some of these trademark companies that say, oh, we'll do your trademark for $49. Newsflash, everyone, federal trademark registrations, the application fee is $350. So how can you possibly charge $49 for something that our federal government charges at a minimum of $350 for? So I want people to be very open-eyed and very sharp. And if you use those services, or you're hiring someone on Instagram and it's just like a service and you sign up on their page, try to get someone on the phone. If it's a real lawyer, there's some ethics that are involved. There should definitely be a contact number. The person should be fully described. You should be able to call your local bar association and say, is this attorney in good standing? Is this a real business? There's a lot of scams, Talyn. Oh my gosh, we are living in the age of scams. And they'll say $49, but once you register and they have your email and your money and your address, then they send you an email with the news. Well, actually, it's going to be $300 for this, $600 for that. So it grows very quickly. And now you don't know what you're paying for. And guess what? You can't even get someone on the phone.
So guys, don't cheap out. And you now have Lorraine as a resource. Lorraine, how can people get in touch with you?
Thanks, Talyn. So I have a website, galvesandcompany.com. I am on Instagram and I am on YouTube. I have a podcast called the LFW Network, and we post a lot of content. We're focused on answering a lot of those questions that you answered, that we answered today for you. And, we realize that entrepreneurs have a lot of questions, so we're working on that. But LFW Network on YouTube. And I'm going to do something that no one does, but that's because we are a little traditional. We have phones, and we have real phones, and we actually answer them. So our office number is 212-996-5061 for anyone who wishes to call us, make an appointment. We have real human beings on the other end. My assistant's name is Danny, and she is excellent, and she would be more than happy to help you make an appointment to speak with our practice.
Now that you know how to protect yourself from your competitors, you have to learn how to differentiate yourself from your competitors within your industry. Check out the next video where I will show you 3 steps on how to brand yourself with unique traits and stories that only you have, so that you can get more clients. See you next time.